Yeah, so Eden, I actually, it rings a bell when you say about the Ren, because when I was in secondary school, I came from this SAP school, Dunman High. My Chinese teacher, which I've got so much respect for, you know, in a Chinese school, it's so different. And she was so young, from 13, 14, 15 years old. You wouldn't really care about all this. But when you look back, you know, you appreciated what the teachers was trying to teach. And I want to throw this thought to you. You know, the new lab that we're going to go into, or we are already currently being thrown into, education is really just like information sharing. There's a lot of online schools now, right? University of the People, the latest one, whereby the University of Yale, they just put up this big portal that a lot of courses are free from the universities, from the Ivy League universities. It's really about information, like, and I think you aptly said the Western style of education is, I will just give you, this is education, this is literacy, I would say. But in a Chinese or the Oriental way of education, whereby you say Ren, right? Or Ren, okay, 2%, right?
Yeah.
It means that it is the education of a holistic education of a man. From the values, from the inner self to your thoughts. So I just think, how can we reconcile this? Well, I think we are really actually in a very gray area where we are moving forward. Especially Singapore is an amalgamation of East and the West. While teachers are trying to teach students values, you know, respectful to elders, keep your you know, just keep your place clean, be considerate to your neighbors, keep your corridors clean, etc. I mean, being the good neighbor, okay, being a good person, as in part and parcel of the education of holistic man. Vis-a-vis the Western style, which is just really just imparting of information. And I think we are probably coming to this road whereby we are being put forth into this road that education is really about going online studies, using the technology, etc. Is there any way, I mean, before even I talk about my thoughts on it, what's your thoughts on it? Because it seems that there is a huge dichotomy and it's going to move this way. And Singapore being an East meets West society, what's your thought on it? I can't even put my question. I just want to ask you, what's your thought on this?
We start off from saying Confucius. I mean, Confucius' thoughts also has crippled us in some way, because Confucius, you know, when the students wanted to be, you know, learn farming, Confucius says no, you know, go to a farmer and learn to, you know. So there is this, of course, the Chinese way of doing things, as you said, is trying to make you know, a holistic person. Whereas the Western way is, well, at least from what I understand, you know, they are very specialized. So if you learn physics, you are just a very good physicist. You learn astronomy, you are very good astronomy. But Confucius will say, hey, this is, you know, 君子不器, don't be just a tool, because you are a person to help the world, the government, to make life better for everybody. So you have to know more things than what is just physics or chemistry or whatever subject. Yeah. So in a way, the Chinese people have lost out, you know, in terms of the scientific, you know, in this scientific revolution. I mean, that's my thought, because of this very big view of the world, you know. So I think there should be always be a balance, that we will continue to have a value education as well as learning deep knowledge on certain technology, whether it's IT skill, artificial intelligence, whether it's physics, or whether it's pharmacy or whatever it is. There should be some specialization, because as a human being, we just can't know everything, especially in today's world. There's no opportunity to be able to be an expert in every subject in the world. You have to be an expert in some subject. Then it comes back to, how do you teach value education? You know, I think it's not quite possible to do it in a classroom setting, with the PowerPoint slides or video or whatever it is. It has to be done. I always tell my colleagues when I was in education, you got to be under the coconut tree, for heaven's sake. You got to have interaction with your students to achieve that. And that interaction happens in the CCA kind of environment rather than typical classroom sort of environment. So how do we put into our education system opportunities for parents, teachers and students to interact in a very meaningful way in imparting the value, the teacher you want to bring across to the students, and being able to understand the students so that at least you know where to direct him or her in a way that will benefit him or her.
So now my question is more pointedly, what is the role of an educator in this change? Are they a teacher? A teacher as in someone who really teach the holistic, the definition of what we're saying. A teacher, 一个老师, or a platform provider, like a school. So now we are at the crossroad. What's the role of an educator, the person? What's the role of the school? Is it a school? Support the mission is to train a person to be a useful citizen of the world. That includes the holistic education of a man, versus now we're going into an educational platform whereby we just impart information. So it is really distinct. So my question pointedly, what are your thoughts?
No, I think we will have to provide skills to the students. And we need to teach them to develop certain skills so that when they become an adult, they can meaningfully contribute to the country, to the family, to themselves. That means they can earn a decent living. I think that platform must still be there. But given that platform, we should seize the opportunity, because this is the only opportunity for very serious adult children interaction. We must use this platform to also convey the value of the society. That means good values of the society, because this is where the young person will grow to be an adult, right? He needs skills, which we will convey through the platform, the textbooks.
It seems that's a bit harder now.
Well, it has to be done.
Unless, like what you say, is through an CCA, a CCA of activity. That's where you teach resilience, strength, honesty, leadership, consideration for your teammates. Yeah. That's I think you probably have actually even delineated clearer for an educator or a platform provider. Probably in the future the schools are just a platform provider. Whereby they're holding master class online. You can see a lot of master classes online, master class in literature, master class in drama, master class in finance, independence, for example. But I think you also put in the aspect that by activity is going to be so important, whereby you said over many episodes of our sharing that CCA becomes more and more important for a person especially as someone who's really growing, right? And I think you mentioned about, you know, in some of the Western society, some of these young people, they go mountain climbing. And then if they break a finger, they break a leg, it's like a badge of honor. That's in Singapore or in an Asian society, they love their children so much. They say, don't even like, I need to have like 10 pieces of safety net first. I think you brought up a
Well,
very important point about the importance. I think the role of CCA must be even given a stronger emphasis now.
correct. I think when you say about those master classes for adults, I mean that's very clear because the master classes for adults meant to really, let's say, sharpen the skill of certain, adults. So it has a very clear, clear, how do you call it, objective. Yeah? But we as a society traditionally take a child from 6 years old to 18 to 21, put them, it comes some kind of institution, right? Now we put them in an institution, we cannot don't do anything, right? We have to do something with them. So learning physics, math, science, I think these are important. It is useful because it will help them to, when they encounter the world or when they and go into the workplace, they will have some skills or they can fit somewhere in the work environment. So that part we have to do. But we must not miss the opportunity that they are 6 years old to 21-year-old, they are in an institution, that we must provide them the opportunity to develop their, besides other skills, but to develop their value, so-called value skills. I mean, how to handle value, that good, how to have good values when they go out to the society. That part we must not miss out. So it's a different ball game from the master class, the video, the university kind of how do you call it, teaching courses, because those are purely educational. Not say educational; those are purely knowledge transference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right to say that teachers have such great influence from that 6 years old all the way to the level of 21 years old, from a minor, mini minor to a minor and then to a major. I feel it's so important. And one final take is that my thoughts myself being a teacher, I think it's a huge burden. It's a huge sense of responsibility, especially in a society where um, an Asian society, Asian context, or in an Oriental context, when you are being called a teacher, when you are being called a 老师, or a teacher, you wear this hat, or you are being placed in this position of influence, of power. And in our olden days, a teacher holds a higher position than the parents. I think in the Confucius times. Am I right?
Well, no. Well, what happened is that I think our today's society is that the parent have outsourced this part to education, to teachers, outsource this, because the parents are so busy at work and things like that. Somehow, this was 7 to 3 or 8 to 5 kind of a thing is now given to the teachers. So the teachers have very heavy responsibility. Yeah. That's why sometimes some teachers say, "Oh, I only want to teach." I said, "Is that education?" I don't know. So, won't you want to be involved, teach students besides just imparting knowledge? I mean, that's part of being a teacher, right?
I want to ask you one final thing that is probably a little bit not so relevant to education. How does faith play a part in the education of a man? Man as in mankind.
I think faith, well, in some like Christian faith or Buddhist faith or whatever faith, I think it also adds to the value of the human being, right? Of course, it it is it strengthens that value system because some is fear of heaven and hell, things like that, or that you may not, some may think that it's necessary to have, what, how do they say it? If you get martyred, you got few wives in heaven, is it, or something? This I can't remember what exactly is the term, but maybe it's the rocket tree lah. But it strengthened that value system, which I think is complementary. I came from a Christian school, and I think it helped me a lot, in deciding what my value is, and I think it's as important. So if a school is able to provide faith, I think it really creates a better person at the end of the journey. So you talk to any people from mission school, or I don't know about whether the Islamic school or the Buddhist school or whatever it is. I'm very sure, at least from my understanding of the Christian school, many of them will say, my teacher was a priest, and he gave me certain values. He left certain values because he set an example, because godly example to the students, which I think is important.
And I think that on this final note, even though this faith topic, because we are in a secular society, it's hard to say that, oh, we must put this under a particular curriculum. I came from a Catholic school, but I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Christian, but and I remember those times when I was in a convent in the primary school. The French nuns came in to strum the guitar, to sing the songs and all this. It still has an impression on me. Probably that could also fill up a gap. I'm not sure whether we have an answer. It's going to be a very long debate, always evolving discussion about the education of the men and the men in the new millennium. On my personal note, and just to share with you, I think that plays a part, especially if someone is actually growing and absorbing whatever noises out there. You're really downloading a lot of things on the unconscious level. Besides the school is really like conscious. All your information is conscious, and unconscious education is probably 90%. The unconscious mind actually works 90%. So I hope that probably closes the gap in part of the education. And that there's a lot of very concerning news nowadays over what we read, which I'm not going to talk about probably in the next time if we ever have a chance to talk about. Some of these very, very concerning news regarding young people who are actually in schools. Certain things that they are doing that is not deemed appropriate, and they may even cut short their future in the world. I'm not sure if you read such news reports these days, which actually I'm very concerned. Why has this become recurring in the last 1 year? And a lot of it has got to do with technology also. I'm not sure if Eden knows what I'm talking about. So on this note, I hope that my final opening or climate closing opens to a new topic about why has certain things happened even when we are giving so much effort, investment, time, value, system into education and educating the new men and women. And yet, new things have come up, which is quite concerning as someone who's just observing the news, etc. I hope that our closing opens up to a new topic that we can explore and think about in the future, as particularly also in faith education. Yeah. Thank you so much, Eden. Is there any final concluding sentence you would like to drop us now?
Oh no, I enjoyed having a discussion with you. Thanks for this opportunity.
I just want to let you know that I value so much, and the people who are watching it is a niche group of people. And as I've said at the beginning, they are the right people. If they're not right, they're not watching it, they won't be watching this. They're the right people. And I hope to call out to your viewers, your friends from the Facebook, etc., that anyone who has any thought, I would like to invite you to have a very respectable, cordial coffee table talk on certain issues of life: education, economy, jobs, family, educating of a holistic daughter, a holistic man, a holistic son, a holistic student, being a positive contribution to the world. I think that should be the mantra in mid-pandemic and post-pandemic. If this pandemic has actually awakened any of us up, it is really about caring about your neighbor.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Eden. I really enjoyed it. And you know, whenever we have a talk, it always 20 minutes, but it has become 60 minutes. You know, time just flipped so fast. So I hope to talk with you, your words of sharing, your words of wisdom. And I hope that you can post this in your Facebook and also invite some of your friends to actually talk about any topics. You can also come to my channel, Talk About Life, whereby I interview international students who really talk about their vision of the world, their vision about their lives. And they all say one thing: they expect big changes with technology, and they want to have what they're using words like energy, solar, climate change. I want to have all these villages in India, which is off the grid. I want to provide them with energy so that they can have a life. You know, I mean, there are students like that. Can you imagine? And this didn't come from the Singapore student. Let's throw out certain topics in the future. The education of the new Singaporean man or the new Singaporean daughter. What are their hopes for the world? Not only just based in Singapore, because their feet is in the world right now. You know, I hope that you can also watch my channel. Students will say that they're so poor, the villagers, they're off the grid. You know, I can't imagine people at this time living off the grid. No electricity. And they want to bring electricity to these villages. You know how heartening you feel that, wow, there are people who have such hopes. There is hope for the world, Eden.
There is, of course, there is a lot of hope.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. Let's talk about the hope for the world, and I hope to interview some Singaporean students too. It's really hard to find. Thank you so much. I will text you and you can look at the videos I've just sent you. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good weekend and stay safe, stay home.
Okay.
Right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.